guys, Captain Bolduc with you, 2-3 Infantry Physical Therapist. This is video number 5 of our How to Build a Home Gym series. You might think, is it Mardi Gras over at Captain Bolduc's dojo? No. Today is a special video coming at you, and all we're going to talk about are bands. Okay, if there's one piece, if you're on a budget and there's one, I guess, set of equipment that I would encourage you to pick up, it's a set of good bands. Okay, there's so many things you can do with a good set of bands, and I'm going to show you here from things with mobility to strengthening to assistance work to help with some of your difficult lifts, and then you can also work power with these bands. So having said that, we're going to get right into it. One of the great uses for bands is to be able to work in a horizontal plane while you're on your feet. You know, so if you're just using weights, that resistance is only vertical. It's only gravity pulling down on that plate. Okay, and I'm going to show you a couple exercises you can do using bands to work that horizontal plane. So the first one is an RDL, Romanian deadlift. Okay, I've got this band right here wrapped around these two attachments on my rack. So now I can step out, use that bench to kind of support, okay? And now I stand up with the bar, and I'm having to squeeze the glutes to push that band forward, okay? And when I come down into that movement at the top, when normally that's an easy position because we're just standing at the top, now it's more challenging, okay? So I'm able to add a resistance at the top of a normally part of the range of motion that's easier in that exercise. We can challenge that. Now, once I climb out of here, I'm going to show you the second thing that we can do in order to make lunges more difficult. Okay, so we can challenge the top part or the top third of that range of motion that normally, as we come up, it's usually pretty easy. But when I have that loaded up behind my knee, that band wants to pull my knee forward. So I really have to activate the quad in order to pull it back. So now I can do lunges with a little bit different training stimulus. Okay, so those are a couple ideas there. Another thing that we can do is mobility work. Okay, so I can take this band up here, wrap it around my hand, grab a hold, and now I can go right into that pec minor stretch. Okay, stretching out the anterior shoulder. But I can also get work extension. A lot of us tend to have restriction in the shoulder, especially back and extension. And a lot of us tend to have internal rotation restriction. Okay, so kind of loading up that shoulder, working that range of motion, spending a good couple minutes on there with those, and then finishing up with a good lat stretch right here and working that overhead position. Okay, so that's some good stuff we can do with the shoulder. Now we can take that same color band and work the lower extremity. Okay, so if you're somebody who has a little bit of hamstring tightness, you know, that could be from a tight muscle, but it also could be from the capsule in that area that could be restricted and tight. So a way to get at that is to kind of come down here in this position, and then we're straightening out that knee. Okay, so from here, we're straightening it out, keeping the back straight, and you can feel a nice stretch especially through the top of that hamstring. Okay, another thing we can do is we can turn it around, position it in the same way, and now we're hitting the hip flexors. Okay, squeezing the glutes, keeping that back straight, and now we're getting that stretch on the front side of the right hip. Okay, last thing we can do, we can get that piriformis. So that's one of those external rotators of the hip. Come down into a pigeon pose, and we're gonna sit down into it. You can really feel a nice stretch back there with that. Okay, so bands are great for mobility. Now, another great purpose here is this is a small area in your travel luggage, right? You can throw this in if you're traveling for a weekend, and now we can work almost every muscle of the body, right? We got the bicep curls if you're going to the club that night. But here we can work the back, right here, band pull aparts. And you can do that from almost any angle. Okay, we can go diagonally with that. We can also do tricep press downs with it. Okay, and shoulder work. Okay, straight overhead. Another interesting way to kind of load up the lower body with bands, and I love to use this in addition to that trick over there for my lunges, okay? And you could actually combine them and it'd be great exercise. So here, I'm down, and now at that top where it's usually pretty easy, it's challenging because one characteristics of the bands is a term known as accommodating resistance. That just means the more they're stretched, the more resistance you're getting, okay? So you're really challenging those ranges of motion that we're usually pretty strong in. Now, in terms of assistance, we can work on leg tucks. Okay, a lot of soldiers are struggling with the leg tuck, and this is one way we can work that. If you're not even able to get one leg tuck, we can kind of work some assistance and then progress from there. So from here, working that same motion, and it's kind of helping the knees up a little bit. Okay, so another great purpose for these bands. Also, if you want to work, let's try this one. There we go. If you want to work pull-ups, okay, you can get some assistance with that. Okay, so a couple great uses there in order to assist some of the lifts that you may be struggling with. Now, the last exercise I want to show you is going to help with our power. And I'm going to demonstrate just the bench press, but we can also do the same thing with a squat and develop explosive power. When I talk about power in the strength and conditioning world, what that means is we're adding a speed component to strength, okay? So strength plus speed equals power. Now, from here, as you can see here, this is just an attachment that band can wrap around, and then we go around the bar. I use the monoliths to get it off, go straight up with it. Now I can control it on the way down and then explode on the way up, okay? And obviously I would add some plates here, but I just wanted to show you how that wrapped around the bar. You can do the same thing with the squats, okay? It's not in the right position, so I can't demonstrate that for you. But you can really work on controlling the way down and then exploding up. And you're gonna get that accommodating resistance like I talked about. So at the very top is gonna be the most resistance because that band is stretched out. So that's everything you can do with bands that I generally do here. It's limitless. You can get creative and do a lot more than I showed you here. But I just wanted to give you a taste of what you can do and what the possibilities are, whether it's at your home gym or whether you're out at a hotel traveling on a vacation, okay? So that's gonna wrap up video 5. Stay tuned for more tomorrow.